Mr. Jim Crescenzo.
Right. Valentine was known as an import soccer player in the East Side.
Awesome. Calabria.
Calabria. Actually, the South.
The South Side.
The South. The sun is down there. And he used to play on the soccer team that was the Italian Cultural Center, ICSF. And these guys were so crazy. They had all the talent in the world to be the best team in the city. Dominic Mobilio, you name them all, right? They were all there. Frank Audia, Siciliano. I got a call. And I remember the referee always giving these guys red cards. We'd be playing 10 men short. And so 2 incidents I'll never forget. One was, and this is the East End then, if we could somehow get these guys to play together, we could win it all. But what would happen is I get a phone call from a teacher in a portable. She'd say, Jimmy, quick, come down to the front hall of the school. We've got soccer players beating the crap out of each other from the other team. McNair and Templeton, guys are getting thrown over cars. Right? These are the guys you played with.
Yes.
So I get down there, and sure enough, there were soccer players being thrown over the cars, but it wasn't from the other team. The other team was sitting in the car watching our own guys beat the crap out of each other and throw each other over the cars.
Those were the Italians.
These guys were nuts.
They were crazy. Somebody like this is who you want to talk to, because we want to know basically what it takes to actually take it to the next level. I mean, we have Mr. Cassini.
Yeah. Great actor.
So we want to know what it takes to get to that kind of level as an actor.
Well, you know, it's today it's great because you're talking about overcoming all kinds of odds, and it's awesome to hear both Frank and the young gentleman who's the boarder. I got to bring him down to my school, talk to my kids, because you know what's cool is the common denominator, I think, from what I see working with young people and you know my own work in the business and my own sort of adversity, which I face every day, is these guys were talking about having passion, right? And the one thing I see amongst a lot of young people that I work with now, whether it's in acting or filmmaking, because that's what I teach, theater and film, is the acceptance of mediocrity, you know? Just sort of getting okay is good enough. And it's something that, I don't know what it is, whether it's this generation facing the kind of pull from pop culture, you know what I mean? Pulling them in the wrong direction, having too much, the age of the computer where you don't have to look up anything in a dictionary anymore. You can push a button and it's instant gratification and poof, your answer's there, you know what I mean?
Say you cannot actually save one of those kids. I mean, what are you gonna what would you have to tell them to actually keep him in your class from not going outside of that room into the gang world? What can you tell him to bring him back?
You know what, there was an article in the paper about one of my students I used to teach. His name is Jorah. And Jorah, it was in the Vancouver province, and it was about you know, his sort of toil with gangs. In grade 12, in his grad weekend, they were at Kitsilano Beach, and he got stabbed in a fight. And him and I, you know, because there's a lot of tough love that has to come in too, right? I think the #1 thing that young people need to see is that you care for them and you love them, like any human being in the world. But at the same time, you also have to talk to them about the reality of life, right? That it's not just a piece of cake when you get out. So a lot of times, sometimes I can't reach them all. But this one boy, I didn't reach him in his grade 12 year. We went head to head. And even after the stabbing, you know, we had a good talk in my office. I says, you know what, the door's always open, but you got to change what you're all about because you're destined for destruction. And I remember a year later, 2 years later, I hadn't heard from him. He came back and he says, you know what, I'm ready. I've been through a real painful time. I see what you're talking about and I need some help. So we fixed him up with some of our donors who had a lot of money, rich people that were giving to our program, who took him under his wing, paid for his entire college and tuition and university. Right now he's in his final year of finishing off a business degree. And he came back and he said, you know what, I appreciated the honesty. And now what he's doing is he's come back and he's talking to the kids once every 6 to 8 weeks. He comes back and does workshops with them on business and making movies. And he's giving back, just like what you're trying to do here. So it's a good thing.
Nice. That's what we want to hear right there. Yeah.